Jack Harlow just released his new album Jackman, and I just gave it my first listen, and these are my thoughts on this album, my first reaction review, whatever you want to call it. I'm of course going to listen to it a couple of more times and let y'all know what I think about it, but honestly, it sounded pretty good so far, so let's talk about it. If you want to stay up to date with all current hip-hop events and releases, make sure to subscribe and become part of this community. Oh, and also, go cop that fresh merch and listen to my new songs in the description. Real quick, if you don't want to listen to this, make sure to skip 10 seconds into the future, but you can now sign up for my free newsletter with the first link in the description. It comes every Sunday and details everything that's been happening in hip-hop over the past week, so make sure to do that. Now, obviously, I want y'all to comment your review of this album in the comments down below so we can have a discussion about this, but let's talk about what I thought about this. So this thing got announced pretty spontaneously. It got announced on Wednesday, I believe. I dropped the video when that happened, and it would drop 2 days after. And this was pretty big because Jack Harlow was someone who less than a year ago dropped an album with Come Home the Kids Miss You that a lot of people were saying was lackluster. It didn't live up to the expectations. He kind of fell off after, we thought he was going to be this big star that was going to do all these things, have all these big hits. He then dropped an album that only had one TikTok carried hit with First Class. Other tracks like Churchill Downs or Dua Lipa, they went big too, I get it, but I'm just saying, it wasn't like a pretty classic album. The first one, that's what they all say. To me, that was way better. To me, that was his best album. And so now we got this new one called Jackman. And in this one, it's only 10 tracks with 24 minutes in runtime. So pretty short. I was thinking it was going to be longer. And he went all solo in this one, which I also thought was pretty special. Because usually, he might have a feature here or there on there. But he's going solo, and that is only for the best. Because this album is very personal. All of the instrumentals on here are very mellow, are very, not in a bad way, uneventful, but they just kind of set the mood for what he is speaking on top of those instrumentals. So it's not like chasing the next pop rap hit or anything like that. He actually wants to connect with the listener on this one. And he does talk about a lot of very interesting stuff on here. So let's go through the track list real quick. On Common Ground, he kind of sets the mood and is talking about how common ground can't really be achieved nowadays. Everybody kind of wants to appropriate everything else. He's talking about white girls doing squats because that's like, the body type they want to get now, and people in the suburbs are now acting like they're in the hood. So he's kind of like observing current day landscape, and I think there was a very good mood setter for this entire record, because obviously his rise to fame also has been connected to a lot of these things. Now, They Don't Love It, the second track, I think was a really cool homage together with the third track, Ambitious, to him still wanting to go even further in the rap game. So to him, putting in the late nights and loving it more than the next person, and people not understanding how much he's worked for this, which I thought was very inspirational, very motivational. So those two tracks, They Don't Love It and Ambitious, and I think that they kind of served as the, y'all think I'm just like this pop figure, like this dude that is not even known for the music at this point anymore, but rather just not a meme, but just like a personality, a character. But he's actually the dude that's been putting in consistent work over 10 years now. Now, Is That Aight is him talking about the way that he wants to lead his life. He wants to get away from all the social media. He wants to just kind of reconnect with where he came from. There's also the vibe that we get from the album cover, where he's just like plainly topless, standing there. It doesn't seem like, his neighborhood we grew up in, but I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like very personal. Like he's just like chilling, making this album, very mellow vibe, and I kind of get that from him as well. Now, Gang 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 is an interesting track because here he's talking about a lot of his childhood friends now being accused of, for example, rape, of inappropriate sexual behavior, and him saying that, they were his dogs, and he goes way back with them, and he had their back for a long time, but at some point that ends when they do shit that he doesn't agree with at all. And I don't know if there was any such situation where, childhood friends of his have, all of a sudden gotten these accusations and he himself got pulled into that as well. Let me know if you know more on that. That would be interesting. But still, I feel like this was an interesting track to listen to. I'm going to listen to it a couple of more times to see maybe what else I can extract from there. Now, the last 5 tracks all are very characteristic of him going very personal, very introspective, reflective, very also insecure, very vulnerable. The way that he lets the listener into his mind and what he's feeling, like the insecurity he's feeling. For example, on Denver, he's talking about, yo, maybe I need to get away from all the fame. Maybe I need to kind of reconnect. As I said earlier, that's kind of the theme throughout the whole album. But then he's like, okay, I still want to do this. I still want to do this long term. Beautiful track. No One Answers to me was kind of all over the place. I mean, the hook is about his girl not needing no like surgeries, no one answers, that type of stuff. But then it was all over the place, so I don't know where to put this song in just yet, but let me know what you think about this though. And It Can Be, I thought, was a pretty kind of funny track because he's saying that it must be his white skin that allowed him to be so successful. It can't be the late nights. It can't be his skill. It can't be his marketing, PR that he's good at or whatever. It must be his skin. You know, it can't be anything else, which is of course ironic because he's saying I'm like so good at all these other things, at the music, at the marketing, at performing, connecting with the people, at putting in a lot of hours, and people reduce it to his skin color, which obviously, you know, as a white dude in hip hop, that's what he gets. And I gotta say, on some of these tracks, like for example, I think it was Is That Aight? It kind of came off as that like corny white rapper, but that's definitely not Jack Harlow. Jack Harlow's always been like pretty smooth, you know, kind of covering that as his image. But I thought that whole track was kind of like funny because he's complaining that people don't recognize the effort that he put in. Now, Blame on Me is a very, very personal reflection of his childhood growing up, his relationship with his brother, how he wants, you know, then his little brother to grow up. I don't know the exact personal details behind this. If you do have some info on that, please let me know, because that would be interesting to understand. And questions as the outro is him asking, you know, can I live up to the expectations? Am I good enough? All these very insecure things that are going through his mind. So all in all, this project is really personal. I think it's not the next big hit that would have like revived his career, but this definitely sets the tone for any future success to come. And I think this proves it can come through with an album that we consider as timeless or whatever, that is not trying to be a hit. You know, that's also a good thing. If you try to put out hits and it doesn't work, that's kind of when you fall off. But if he's just like, yo, this was the way I was feeling around the time recording this, around the time that I was living through this, then this is the perfect way to do it. So I'm not saying this is like a complete flawless project that goes through all the emotions, has bangers here, but also introspective here. It's a mellow record. I would maybe compare it, and also compare the cover art so far, to his stuff, now not from the narrative aspect of it, but maybe to the reflective state of like a J. Cole For Your Eyes Only. You know, that's kind of, I see him get inspiration for that. Now, I think it's They Don't Love It. That song sounded like a J. Cole song also. So I'm guessing he's on his J. Cole wave right now. But that's it for my review on this one. I like it so far. I'm not saying it's flawless. I'm not saying it's perfect. But I think it came at the right time for people to still believe in him and for him to have a stepping stone to then also drop something further. Let me know what you think about this though. Are you excited for what's to come? Did you like this record? What's your favorite track and what's your least favorite track? Please let me know in the comments down below. If you watched this video to the end and liked it, and you want to stay up to date with all current hip-hop events and releases, make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, hit that like button, and go follow my social media, and most importantly, join my Discord in the description. Until the next one, you'll have an incredible day, and you'll take care.